as travelers, as nomads, we have a responsibility to be conscious of our impact.
Just because you like your dog doesn't mean everybody else likes your dog.
I always encourage going through a very thorough vetting process when it comes to accepting house sit.
Welcome to Where She Builds,
the podcast where two globetrotting solopreneurs share the real journey of building a life and business on the move.
I'm Shandy, an online personal trainer helping people feel strong anywhere in the world.
And I'm Anna, creator of Your Travel Friend Anna, a global community and go-to resource for those wanting to live a fulfilling and culturally curious life.
Thanks for being here.
Let's dive into this week's episode. Welcome back, everyone, to the Where She Builds podcast. I am Anna, Your Travel Friend Anna, joined always by Coach Shandy, who is now the latest Instagram star on social media. Hi,
Let's
Shandy.
get real here.
How are you?
I'm good, Anna. How are you?
I'm very good. I just wanted to just throw that in there because I was pleasantly surprised that not only in the same couple days, folks, did she post an Instagram story and an Instagram post, and I was flabbergasted that you did both. Please explain the reasoning.
I had a little angel on my shoulder called Anna saying, "You have to post," in my back of my mind.
Is it angel or devil?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is.
Yeah.
No, I just thought we just finished the group workouts together.
The live ones.
The live ones,
yeah.
Yeah, because you guys are going to do another one today, question mark?
I might actually run today just for a side chat. I feel like we'll get into where I am, what I'm doing, but I just feel like I've been inside and sitting so much. I think outside, fresh air, it's kind of rainy, but I don't even care. Yeah, I think I just need to run.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking, on Tuesday we did our last workout and I thought that went really well and everybody seemed like they really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed giving them. So I just thought, I had some energy after the workout because, after you get some good endorphins going. And then I was thinking I'll just post a quick video. So then, I made a quick story on my Instagram about running some online workouts and seeing where to go from there. So we'll see.
It was amazing. I think it was, I did the workout with you, but then I was like, wait, it's so fun to see you in your space and what you did and just this moment of realness. And just to reemphasize for our audience, I've been encouraging Shandy to show up on social media, not in this intense way of post 5 times a day, every day 3 stories. I just said just try and find yourself back in the social media sphere. And I think a lot of freelancers and entrepreneurs get overwhelmed, myself included, that we have to post so much. And just remember, a little can go a long way. Also, taking breaks is really good on the algorithm. I personally think so. But I was pleasantly surprised to then also see on my feed, for the first time, I did creep since maybe March outside of podcast posts. You posted about your run.
Yeah. No, but I'm glad that you did say that too, that when you were here, we talked a little bit about it too, because I was being fully transparent about, at some point I was posting 2 or 3 times a week and I was doing that quite regularly for almost a year. But then
impressive.
I just got really burnt out. I was sick of trying to come up with new content ideas. And I was just is anybody even seeing this? I was getting maybe 10 likes every post. And it was great. I love having 10 supporters. It's awesome. But then at the point I was I'm investing so much time and so much energy into this. And I am hating every second of it. So I just thought I'd rather invest my time in things that I really enjoyed. And then, social media kind of fell off the back end. And of course, now I'm doing the social media for our podcast here. So that sometimes this week was hard for me because I've been kind of running on a low battery this week. So the social media has not been put out yet, but I have been slowly making the videos. But then, I was inspired after on Tuesday. So I was I might as well get it done, post it quick. And then I felt really good afterwards, but it ebbs and flows. It's coming in highs and lows, and I just thought I'd take it when it is, and I don't want to put any pressure on myself to, like you said, you don't have to post every single day, you don't have to do this, and when I feel like I want to post, then I'll post, and I'm not going to make myself huge rules with it kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's great, and also to ride that creativity wave, that energy wave. I mean, I'm going on a tangent, but these, as women, we naturally have like a 4-week cycle of creative and energy and how full our batteries can be and how empty our batteries may be. So also just leaning into that. If you're like, I want to post on social media right now, then heck yeah, go post, do whatever you want. And then if there's a week, it's like, I just like can't be bothered, then don't be bothered. Why create this pressure point? Because you're not going to show up also. You don't need to show up perfectly, of course. Like this is also something that can be shared, but showing up with your best, your authentic self in whatever state that is in. So I was very, very proud of you, Mama.
Thank you.
And I was happy.
I appreciate the support.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sad that our live workouts are done. Shani's been awesome in providing a program, and that will continue our workouts next week in person at the co-living, but just using your program that you provide us, which is great because you're traveling next week and we can be flexible with that. And I think a lot of communication and expectation, as long as it's talked about ahead of time, we can be super flexible because, of course, we're going to support your travel journey.
Very sweet of you. Yeah. We're going to Rome for next week too. So that was kind of part of the plan for the last couple months. So yeah, we had talked about that as well. But yeah, there's just a lot going on. So
you're a busy bee, and I'm sure you're helping your family as well as they come overseas for travel and all those last minute questions that come in. Yes, I'm familiar with this.
I thought it was so funny. I was looking on Find My Friends today, and you are like 60 kilometers away from my parents right now.
No way. Yeah. Wait, when did you look?
This morning. So you're probably, I don't know
we
where
were
you
in Kotor this morning.
Yeah, they were in
Bar.
They were in Bar. Yes, they were in
I'm
Bar.
so mad, guys, because they ported somewhere where I've been living nearby.
Yeah.
Or like a town I can get to quite easily, but just the dates did not align because I've been at a nomad conference this week. So
you're 56 kilometers away from each other right now.
I probably saw. Well, no, we saw some cruise ships in Kotor, which is where Kotor is in Montenegro. If you're listening for the first time, it's an old town, and there is cruise ships that dock. To my understanding, they never stay overnight. I've never seen them stay overnight unless weather is bad. Then they have to dock. But there was a huge ship in today. I was like, oh my gosh, like, does that thing even fit? Like, is the water deep enough right here for this? It was.
They're huge, hey? They're crazy.
Well, there's been some that are more of that river cruise, like, I don't know, at least windows wise, it's like 3 levels. This was like 8. Like it was one of those like Holland America, Disney. Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. Yeah.
Crazy. Really crazy. But how is the conference? Because that's also super fun, because that, people that are listening, is the conference that we met at. How many years ago? 2 years ago now, right?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Crazy.
And I have to say, you know what? Tonight, I'm going to make it my mission to like emphasize this podcast because it just hasn't come up in conversations with people about that we met here. And so I'm going to make that a goal of mine tonight. But on the side note, it's been a really great conference. It's been fun. I wasn't sure what to expect because I was wondering how the project of like, there's been funding to host this conference every year. And so I've been wondering how the project's been progressing, and some talks were really discussing about how to help local providers and folks in Montenegro to help appeal to the digital nomad, and like how that is actually happening, and emphasizing the needs, at times demands, of a digital nomad and what a remote worker is. And I mean, it was hosted by a Canadian, so I can't really be mad at the conference. Nora, you did a great job if you ever listen to this. And yeah, today we got to explore the Kotor, and we got a tour of the old town by the mayor. We also had the mayor of Herzegovina come and speak to us. So I feel like a mini celebrity a little bit right now.
Yeah, kidding.
Yeah.
No, that's really, really cool. Amazing. And of course, all the speakers were probably amazing, but there's one specific speaker that we've had on the podcast.
Oh, yes. Nikki,
How
of course. What episode was Nikki? Episode 6, I think. I think she was our second guest.
Yeah.
So Nikki, or Nicola Gwilliam. Sorry, Nick,
right?
if I said that wrong.
I think it's Gwilym.
Okay.
I think so.
She spoke on our podcast about social media and her journey switching her careers and her chapters. And she also spoke here on AI and social media, which was a very intense and informative session that I even need to, as someone who's on social media and in it quite a bit, I need to step away and like really think about all the good information that she gave, and how social media and AI can really work in tangent with one another about generating ideas and just being excited about what you can create and how to execute a little bit faster.
Cool.
Yeah,
Amazing. I
it's
love
very
that. Did
cool.
they
So
record it this time?
she recorded it herself.
Oh, did she?
So you have to reach
Good
out to her.
idea.
Yes.
Amazing.
She was so smart. So you'll have
Wow.
to reach out and see if she posted online.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so cool. I love it. It's like a full circle. This is
It's
so amazing.
Oh, it was like so fun to see her in person as well and
Yeah.
be here with one of my co-livers. And so thank you to the CBCC conference. Well, conferences in one of those C's, but it's been a really awesome experience and we're really well treated here. And the hotel's been beautiful and the Wi-Fi has been good, which is all we really care
Amazing.
about.
Yeah. Yeah. And for anybody listening, like it is, if you are a nomad or if you're curious about being a nomad, this is like the conference to go to. It is so
Yes.
great, so well put together. Everything is just seamless, like very great support on each end and really nice locations as well, right? And it's really cool that you get to
Yeah.
have like some sort of excursion during the conference as well.
And
Really,
next
really cool.
year's in Croatia for the first time. So Shandy, maybe we need to go
Amazing.
back and do like a
Yeah.
reunion there, a 3-year reunion. I will say it's a much different if someone's interested in the digital nomad world. This is different to Bansko Nomad Fest, a lot of these like Athens Nomad Fest, there's one in Chiang Mai Nomad Fest, where those are a gathering of digital nomads to exchange skills and ideas inside the region, whereas this one is focusing more on connecting with the local providers and ministries and information. Like it's really about connecting the Western Balkans with nomads versus nomads being in a place together and connecting together. So I do want to.
Right.
It is a bit of a different setup, but you still meet nomads and you meet awesome local connections that if it wasn't for coming 2 years ago, I wouldn't be here right now again, which is
And here we are.
madness.
Full circle. Full circle. I love it.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's been very good. Very good. What's been going on in Coach Shandy world though this past week? You said your battery's a little empty. Like we can talk through that.
It's just
therapy.
a little therapy. No, I don't know. I feel like the last couple of weeks it's been very busy.
Mm-hmm.
From our last Chitty Chat, what is it, 2 weeks ago? I was like getting a little bit cocky. I was like, oh, I feel great. Everything's doing well. And now I'm just like, it's a different Shandy.
It's a different Shandy. That's okay.
It's just, yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot going on with work right now. Like lots of client check-ins, lots of new programs, lots of videos, lots of in-person workouts. So it's a lot. It's all adding up, but it's fun. Like I enjoy it. Like I'm really enjoying it and it's fun to put things together, but the motivation this week is lacking a little bit. I'm just feeling a little bit like I'd rather just curl up on the couch and not do anything, but I've only had one nap this week, so I'm proud of that.
Wow. And we're recording on a Thursday, folks. So this is pretty good. Also, you don't need to reason. I just want to reemphasize, like, especially to me and on this podcast, you don't need to re-emphasize to us that you enjoy what you're doing, because I think that comes across in every episode. And we don't, in general, I don't think we should have to give a reason for being tired. You're tired because you're doing something you love and that you're putting a lot of effort and energy into it. And as we've talked about 2 weeks ago, the energy levels were great. And like now it's coming down a little bit, but I bet by next week, the energy levels are going to be like, zing, 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 I'm back.
Just in time to be in Rome. No, and I think that's what it is for this week too, because I'm kind of doing 2 weeks of work in one week. I'm trying to put everything together this week, prepare for next week because I won't be by my laptop a lot. So there's a lot of preparations that owning your own business you have to prepare for if you're going away even for 3 or 4 days. So that's also something that I always say, like I have a friend here that we're talking and she works a 9 to 5. She's like, oh, it sounds so nice because we were talking about that we were going to maybe Central America in January, February. And she was saying, oh, it must be so nice to have your own business. You can just choose to go wherever you want to go and you can work from there. And I was like, yeah, it's great. But it's also, we're going to be working from there. If we take time off, we don't get paid for it. And we still have to work in these beautiful places, which is not a bad thing, but it's very different from the 95 mindset of, okay, you're going on vacation, you can completely unplug, recharge, get ready. Whereas if you're working for yourself, you have to constantly think about, okay, where can I make some money? Because that money needs to keep coming in. Otherwise,
100%.
we're at a dead stop. So, yeah.
Yeah. You would have liked one of the presentations during this conference that the host actually, who's been a nomad for close to 20 years, has identified as that, or traveling for 20 years. Yeah. Really emphasized to the room of non-nomads that travel does not equal vacation. You've said this before for sure on one of our episodes. And I think just re-emphasizing that, like, how many normal activities do you do when you work a 9 to 5? Like 1 to 2 unique activities in a week. Well, that is still the same when we travel. Like today, gosh, I would love to just like take a car and go into town while I have this break between conference things. But no, I've got to show up for this podcast for you. I've got my co-working group that I've already had to move to a different day. I'm going to try and sneak in a run in between just to like feel my health and wealth. So I'm not sitting here, I'm not down at the pool, or I didn't pay 15 euros to go to the sauna. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very tempted to do that instead of go for a run. But I just think it's re-emphasizing that vacation is not travel. I think also in your case, you're going to be meeting up with people who are on vacation. So you want to be present and just enjoy the company and not have to look at your phone, which is a lot of the time why my content's very delayed, because I take the content, but I like to be off my phone in the moment and just like having a glass of wine and genuinely enjoying the sunset instead of like, hang on, I took a picture of the sunset. Now I need to look down and post the sunset. It's like, I'll post it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Which I think is a nice balance too, right? Like, because nowadays I feel like people are sometimes really, really invested in their phones, and I have to capture this perfect moment and then post it on social media, and you just lose that spark of that moment, especially if you're surrounded by people. If you're by yourself, okay, I kind of get it, but if you're surrounded by other people, I think it's really important to enjoy the people around you and put your phone away, and then you can look at it in your off time for a couple minutes here and there. But I do find that, of course, your phone is very addictive and it's very easy to spend a long time on it. So I'm trying to be more cognizant of putting my phone down, not doing anything with it for a couple hours a day just to see how that feels. But it's kind of hard to do when you're also working on your laptop.
It's so hard to do. It's hard to do. And I think at the co-living, I actually will admit that the one apartment's Wi-Fi isn't the best, but it's put me to bed every night on time. I can't watch episode on episode of TV. Like, the Wi-Fi is crappy and I know it's going to suck my data and I don't want to pay for more. So I'm like, guess I got to go to bed. Like, I actually have been sleeping the best and the most consistent than I ever have. I feel super busy, but somehow I'm like, okay, because I'm actually sleeping properly for once instead of
a blessing in disguise.
It's totally a blessing in disguise. So yeah, it's okay.
Amazing.
Our energies can fluctuate. Also, I'm here, Shandy. I'm feeling at 80%. If you're at a 20%, I think that's like so important too, as we go into we're in partnership, not go into, we are in it.
Yeah.
We are showing up. This episode that we're going to play in a moment, it's very interesting because I think it also reemphasizes a component of travel that a lot of folks struggle with, is finding accommodations and finding spaces that are more affordable. And again, in this conference, there was a talk about the research that it takes to find a new destination, to go to next place. And this individual had some very creative ideas. Should we listen to this episode about traveling with cheaper accommodations?
Let's do it.
All right, let's listen. Hey everyone, we just wanted to let you know that there's not going to be an episode next week. We're just taking a little break as Anna finishes up her co-living and Shandy is traveling and has a lot of client work. And hey, it just happens this way sometimes. So we will see you the following Tuesday. Don't forget to share the last episode with a friend, and we'll see you at the next Chitty Chat. Today's guest has been a full-time nomad for over 9 years, travel hacking her way to nearly free flights while house and pet sitting across more than 20 countries on 5 continents. She values the way travel show up in a destination, combining strategic planning for affordable travel while also investing in a place in one's future. As a creative Wanderwell club, she helps remote workers and digital nomads design a life where sustainable travel, financial independence, and conscious giving coexist. So welcome to Where She Builds, Bianca. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you guys and looking forward to this chat, and I hope it'll be helpful for everyone listening.
Oh, I'm already convinced it's going to be amazing. And welcome. We're so excited to have you. We always start off the podcast with our guest just asking where they're coming from. So right now, Anna and I are in the Netherlands together. Actually, the first episode that we're together. So that's also very exciting. But Bianca, where are you at the moment?
Right now, I'm in Cagliari, which is the capital of Sardinia, Italy. Basically, Italy has 2 major islands. Everyone knows Sicily. I'm over in Sardinia, the other one.
Amazing. And it's funny because before we just started recording, we heard you speak Italian for a second, which was a pleasant surprise. Just to, our jaws were on the floor a little bit.
both of us, we looked at each other and we're like, okay, we're so quickly flipping between English and then Italian, and you're just like, you sounded like you were from Italy. So amazing. I'm so jealous.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I've been working on it, but you can always improve.
Yeah, definitely. It's really fun to talk to you today because you've been traveling for almost a decade, 9 years. I feel like you could just say almost a decade and it sounds cooler. So we're so excited to chat with you as obviously inspiring travelers and wanting to see more of the world for a longer bit of time. So Shani will get us started here.
So we did a call before, and you were very sweet enough to share kind of what your history is. But just very quickly, if we could rewind, and you told us about one changing part in your life that you decided that you wanted to start traveling. So can you tell us that story again?
Sure. I hope I remember the right one, but I am originally from a small town in upstate New York, and I'm from Puerto Rican and Ashkenazi Jewish heritage. So I've kind of always been in between cultures and not fully belonging to either one until I eventually realized that I just belong to myself and to I'm 100% me essentially. But I didn't grow up in wealth and I didn't have lots of opportunities to travel, and I had to find creative ways to go about that. So I was always like getting super involved with school in order to find ways to like get the school to sponsor me to go on different trips around the US, and was able to do that successfully. And I knew that education was really my path out of like my small town. And I started taking classes at my local university when I was 14, local community college rather. And basically, I just was able to graduate high school early to get out as quickly as I could, go to college early and finish that. So I entered as a junior and was able to finish college in 2 years. And I did a semester abroad, not because I had any plan whatsoever to do that, but actually, my friends just convinced me at like the very last minute to submit my application to study abroad with them in Florence. And I got accepted, and I actually applied for so many scholarships that I was paid to go study for a semester in Florence, which was incredible.
No
And
way.
yeah,
That's
yeah, it was
amazing.
amazing. And I was able to do an internship while I was there with a local tourism and cultural focused nonprofit organization. Did like a work study as well. And to travel throughout Europe, I basically contacted a tour operator and worked out a deal with them that as long as I was able to bring a friend and get them to sign up, then I was able to go on the trips for free. So I got to visit a whole bunch of countries throughout Europe entirely for free during that semester. And that completely shifted everything for me. Like I was fully on board with travel from then on out.
How did you even think about that? Like, I'm just thinking, like, if I were to travel, that wouldn't even cross my mind that that would be a possibility to just be like, I'll travel and I'll bring a friend. And that, how did you think about that?
I've just always really found creative ways to do things and just try to be resourceful. And I kind of just see these opportunities. I don't really know how to explain it, but I think that it never hurts to ask. Like, always asking, the worst that people are going to say is no. And you can always kind of meet people where they are and see how you're able to help them and find like an agreement that works for everyone. So I was able to save $100,000 on university in the US just because I found this little hack to take college classes very early on. And so this is just like a very apparent pattern throughout my whole life, really.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely sounds like you are finding creative ways, unique ways to get what you want, and clearly working hard for it at the same time. But yeah, and also US college is so expensive. It is insane. Canadian colleges too, but US is crazy. So would you say that this was like the aha moment for you traveling once you saw obviously this ability to see more places? Is this what was kind of this turning point of like, oh, I want to experience this more and more often inside your travel?
Yeah, I think that there wasn't one exact aha moment necessarily, but I think that one step really led to another to unfold naturally for me. So I had full intentions of graduating university as quickly as I possibly could, climb up the corporate ladder. Everyone told me like you're the next CEO, blah blah blah, of a Fortune 500 company. And once I started traveling, I got a different perspective about not living to work, but working to live. And it just was very refreshing for me. And it completely changed my trajectory. So when I went back to the US, graduated from university, I then applied for an internship with Southwest Airlines, and I worked in their community relations and charitable giving department. And this helped me like plan all of their volunteer programs around all of their different hubs in the country. And I also got unlimited free flights. So I was able to travel around the US doing that.
Okay. Sign me up. Okay. Are they taking older interns anymore?
This was back in 2010, so it was quite some time ago. So they offered me a job, but I realized that Dallas and just corporate 9 to 5 wasn't for me. So I moved to New York City, and I didn't really like have any plan whatsoever, but I got an internship with a travel magazine startup called Off Track Planet. And that segued into a job as a PR and community manager for them. And their whole shtick was about essentially convincing Americans to get their passports, take a gap year, and find creative ways to travel affordably. So that was like definitely along my path. And when that folded, I actually only had I was living month to month. It was a startup salary. And at that point, there was a point that I had like $13 in my bank account and I was sleeping on my friend's couch. And I was like, what am I going to do? Well, you know what? Italy sounds good. Let me go and let me see what I can do. And in the magazine, there was this article that gave 10 ways to travel around the world for free or very low cost. And essentially from there, it talked about house sitting and au pairing. And within that month, I basically like sold my laptop, all of my belongings, and went to au pair in Italy. And kind of the rest is history after I met my partner 2 weeks later.
Wow. Okay. Processing everything. It's
There's a
amazing. I
lot.
feel like yeah, but I love the trajectory of your I want to say past life, but it's your current life, but like just the way that you knew what you wanted and you knew that one thing wasn't for you, so then you evolved into this new aspect of your life and you we we have a saying in Alberta. I don't know if it's something you've heard before, Bianca, but you just grab life by the horns, like the bull by the horns, because you're just like, you just take what you want. And I love that. Like, there's so many people that just go through life so passive, and it just sounds like you knew what you wanted and you took it. And I think that's amazing. And wow, it also speaks to where you are now too. Like you are exactly where you want to be because you made yourself where you want to be. So that's amazing. Okay, so you've been traveling for about a decade now. Was there a shift between traveling because you said you were au pairing in Italy and then you were traveling around a lot, flying lots? Was there a shift to slower travel? And what was that idea behind that? Like, why did you start to slower or slowly travel?
So I spent some time living in Sardinia. So I was already teaching English there for a while. And my partner and I, we had permanent contracts, which is like the holy grail in Italy. Everyone wants to have one. But I knew that I wanted to continue traveling. And when my partner proposed to me, basically I said, listen, yes, but I'm planning on going on a trip around the world for a
Okay,
year.
this was
Yes.
the story I was hoping you were going to tell again, because this is the one where I think, wow, one moment between the two of you and you individually could have completely changed how the next 9 years went.
Yes, absolutely. And I basically said, listen, I'm going to take this trip. This was my plan. My plan wasn't to stay in Sardinia forever and fall in love with you. I had intentions of continuing to explore the world. So you can either wait for me this year and I will come back to you and we'll live happily ever after, or you can come with me. And I'm very, very grateful that he said yes. So we spent a couple of years saving up we had a very singular focus. We really just were saving as much as we could, working extra hours and just being as resourceful as we possibly could. Some might say a little bit boring, but really we had a vision in mind. And once we started traveling in April 2016, we originally started out with the idea of taking a 1 year sabbatical when we were, for example, just like staying in hostels, Airbnbs, just budget backpacking style. And we did couch surfing for 3 months throughout quite a few European countries and Japan and South Korea. And it was a wonderful experience. We're still in touch with many of those people, but we really needed our own space. We were traveling too fast. It wasn't great for our health at one point. We just wanted to kind of slow down. And that's when I kind of referred back to that article from the magazine that talked about house sitting. I remember that we just immediately set up our profile, applied, and we got our first house sit in Bangkok. So we just flew from Korea to Bangkok, and it was a game changer for us because all of a sudden we were in our own space, the comfort of someone's own home. We had a cat to take care of that gives us a little bit more purpose, and we were able to settle into this. Beautiful space in a condominium with a gym and strong Wi-Fi and a pool, and just it was an amazing experience overall.
It's definitely something that we can both relate to. Heck, why I'm in Shandy's house right now recording because when you travel, yeah, it's fun to do the backpacker thing, stay in hostels, but then there's this piece of you, whether you're working or not, that I think craves a hominess feel. And although some Airbnbs and booking.com apartments can be really fulfilling, there's a sense of like seeing pictures on a wall, there being two knives, not just one, a rice cooker, not just a pot, like these little things in someone's home that really make you feel settled. And we talk a lot about like the nervous system just kind of being at ease and being 4 rolls of toilet paper, not just two for the 2 nights you're there. Like these little things make a big difference. And in a home, I can imagine that traveling so much and wanting to continue to work online, it made a difference. And a cat. So lovely. And so it sounds like you've shared that you have a US background and then this Sardinia life started. So I'm curious if when people ask you where you're from as you've started to travel, what is your answer from them? And also, I'm proposing, which I heard from a TED talk, and I really need to memorize this woman's name. She uses the phrase, where are you a local? Instead of saying, where are you from? So taking either prompt, where are you from, or where are you a local?
It's an interesting question. So, I grew up in the Catskill Mountains, which is the land of Muncie Lenape, and I grew up there. Those are always going to be my roots, and I generally say that I'm from New York more than the U.S., but specifically. But I feel like a local in places that I have spent a lot of time. So over the past 10 years, I haven't always just gone to new destinations. A lot of my house sitting has brought me back to the same places for very like extensive periods of time. So I'm a local where I can go and I know all of the back roads to take to avoid traffic, or I know the name of the woman at the local zero waste store because I organized a workshop there and we built a relationship and went hiking on the weekends. So, a couple of places that come to mind for me are, of course, Sardinia in Italy, Granada in Spain, and Santorini in Greece.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. I love that. And I love that you're like, as digital nomads or people that are traveling around a lot, sometimes we have kind of that feeling that we don't have a home, or that you feel like I don't know, you have multiple homes at once, but then are there places that you feel more at home? Like, is there one place that you're like, okay, every time I come back here, this is my home. Like, I feel like I belong here. Or is it those multiple places that you just mentioned as well?
So hmm, I I don't feel like I have a proper home, right? I don't necessarily identify with that, but I appreciate the roots that I have built in these different places. But I have to say that every time I go back to Granada in Spain and Spain in general, but specifically Granada and the Costa Tropical of Granada, I love it there, and it does feel like home for me.
It's hard because I think there's certain places for different reasons that make you maybe feel at home, and its own environment can be so much, but the people can be different, and also just the way life works, like the way should you need support, should you need healthcare support, the way a grocery store simply works can be way better in one country, but then you're like, oh, but the outside and the mountains and the tropics or the beaches is so good in this other place. So it's beautiful that you have more than one home, and I think it's wonderful to have those connection points. And so, as you've been traveling for a longer period of time, how has house sitting started to slow you down, or this first experience in Bangkok? What was that feeling like, an emotion, maybe between you as a partnership as well, which I think is very interesting? Did it help your relationship at all? And then obviously you as individuals, what did it do for you in this travel lifestyle?
It helped in so many ways. I think personally, it definitely helped me to feel more regulated, a little bit more stable, and it helped me to understand this like broader vision of how I can make this lifestyle sustainable. Because if I'm eliminating my housing expenses entirely, that means I'm not paying for rent, I'm not paying for utilities, bills, Wi-Fi, sometimes a gym for, so many of your major expenses are eliminated, and that frees up many resources, both in terms of like financially speaking, because I don't have as much pressure in terms of the bills, and also in terms of the time that I have. Like, because I can pull that lever by reducing my expenses, I'm also able to have more time and I can choose to work part time and just really enjoy my travels rather than just trying to like grind it out as much as I possibly can. And in terms of myself and my relationship, I think that we had a very very specific amount that we had in mind for how much we wanted to spend per day for our original plan to travel around the world. So having that tight budget in mind, just and it felt very rigid, and sometimes we were very like either too cheap or too hard on ourselves. And I started to think about it and I'm like, if I'm just trying to be this like broke budget backpacker that is traveling for as cheaply as possible. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a good deal, but like, what impact is that having on the local community where I'm traveling? Like, am I actually using my privilege and my resources to be beneficial and thinking beyond my own benefit? So, the house sitting concept as a whole, it's not transactional, it's relational. And it just adds a depth to your travels in many ways because you're automatically plugged into a community, right? The owners are oftentimes like introducing you to their neighbors, their friends. They'll tell you about insider tips, good hikes to take, the best places to go shopping and save money and go to farmers markets and things like that. So having that connection and being able to build up that network over the long term is really, really meaningful for me as a traveler. And I do think that as travelers, as nomads, we have a responsibility to be conscious of our impact because whether we like it or not, we do have an impact. Um, and doing the best that we can with what we have to really make sure that everyone is mutually flourishing.
For those people that are listening that don't know what house sitting is, could you explain a little bit, like, very, very quickly what exactly it is, how you obviously you got into it through the what was it called? The magazine, not magazine, but
Yeah, the travel magazine article.
yes, that's the word. So you got it through the article. So how can you explain to people what house sitting is and what it looks like day to day?
Yeah, absolutely. So with house sitting, it is an exchange when somebody, a home or pet owner, goes on vacation. Then you can go into their homes and stay there to take care of their pets, their home, their plants, garden, etc. And you're usually not paid for it, especially if you're doing it internationally. So there's no money exchanged, but it's really an all around win for everybody because the homeowners get peace of mind because they know that everything is going to be taken care of by somebody who has been vetted and has reviews and is able to take care of their pets just as if they were there. Sometimes it helps with insurance purposes that like the home needs to remain occupied in order for insurance to be valid. I've already mentioned all of the sitter benefits because, of course, there's financial savings, you have the stability, and it's great for the digital nomad lifestyle. And then, of course, the pets, like they're able to stay in the comfort of their own homes. They get loving, personalized care and they get to follow their own routines. So oftentimes it's a lot less stressful, and both the homeowners and the sitters are saving money. So it's just an easy win.
Very interesting. I would have never thought about the insurance component of things, but even myself, I've stayed in, my parents' house and they were like, actually it'd be better if you didn't leave again on a trip and stayed here for a trip. Just especially coming from a cold country and our pipes can freeze in the winter and explode. So this kind of thing is very interesting to think about. I have a couple like quick fire questions about house sitting for you. That have you ever house sat without a pet?
Yeah, I have. Actually, I've done several house sits without pets, mostly either just house without plants or with plants or garden to take care of. So I've done that in a couple of months in Phuket in Thailand. I did it for about 5 or 6 weeks in Grecia in Costa Rica. And then for about a month, just a few weeks ago, I just got back from a house sit in Boquete, Panama, and I was able to look after about 20 plants there. So it does happen, but I would say like 95% of the time there are pets involved.
Like, do you propose an application to somebody, or does somebody reach out to you and say like, "Hey, I'm leaving on these dates. Can you come stay?"
Yeah, the only one I know is Trusted House Sitters, which I believe is only pets still. I don't know it to be. So it's cool. Also, great memory you have of where you've been and for how long, because I can't even keep track of last month. So I'm impressed by that. But yeah, like I know Trusted House Sitter is, I don't know if that's a platform you like or you would suggest, but where are people finding the non-house, like all the applications, I suppose?
Actually, all three of those house sits that I just mentioned were through Trusted House Sitters. So there are house sits that don't have pets on Trusted House Sitters as well. And yes, Trusted House Sitters is where I started 9 years ago for my very first sit, and I still use it to this day and recommend it. There are other platforms around the world. So, depending on where you want to travel specifically, there might be platforms specifically for your country or for your region. But I think that overall, the biggest bang for your buck, if you're just looking for one global platform with the most opportunities and the most features built into it, Trusted House Sitters is a good option.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, I know someone who's done one in Canada as a house owner or the homeowner. They had someone come and take care of their dog and it was really good. But another question I have is have you ever done house sits solo? Because as you've been kind enough to share you have a partner, but I'm a solo traveler and one hesitation I've had doing house sitting is I mean, we'll get in. Shanny was going to ask this next about cats because I personally don't like cats and I'm allergic to them. So cats are unfortunately off the list. So then I think of dogs. What if I meet the dog and we don't get along? Like we have met them on camera. The owners are so sweet. I vibe with the people, the place is great, the vibe, the energy, the community. But then I think if I meet the dog and we don't get along, or the dog is a bit more aggressive than I'm used to, or I just don't have familiarity, or they don't like putting they're fine with everyone else, but I just somehow can't get their harness on. How do you do that? Okay, so let me backtrack. Have you ever done any solo house sits? And then also, have you ever experienced like just not getting along with the pets that you've taken care of and how to manage that, especially if it's like a 5 or 6 week stay?
Yeah, great questions. Very valid. I have done solo sits. Before I met my partner, I was a solo traveler as well. So I went couch surfing in Mexico and took trips on my own all the time. So that wasn't too much of a concern for me. But spending all of my time with my partner, like all the time, sometimes I need to remind myself that I'm a strong, independent woman. So I'll go off and I'll go
Yes.
do house sits on my own, and they're never for too long, but I do try to take some trips without him. So I do go on a trip with my sister every year. She is a flight attendant and who is on leave and she's training to be a pilot. So it's great. She gets the flights
We
and
love
I
a
get the
female
housing.
pilot. We're
We
here for
do.
it.
I was just gonna say we have the theme of I was gonna say badass, but it's not badass. No, but just big ball energy. Like you, Bianca, your sister becoming a pilot. We love that. We stand for that. That's amazing. Sorry for the interruption. Keep going.
Thanks. That's amazing. So I do try to do some sits on my own sometimes for a little bit. And as independent as I try to be, like my husband's really sweet and he's the cook in the house. So he'll like always he's Italian. He'll always send me off with like a little care package to make sure that I
Not mad
eat.
about it.
That is
Not
so
mad at all.
sweet.
He's great. I always encourage going through a very thorough vetting process when it comes to accepting house sits. Like we don't want desperate energy when we're trying to like get started with house sitting. You're not like people are surprised when I say that my partner and I actually decline quite a few sits when we're offered them because we just like don't feel 100% like aligned with them or with the demands of the house sit, the responsibilities or the whatever the situation is. So if we see any like red flags, then we'll just avoid it and kindly decline and hopefully keep the bridge open for the future in case things change. But inside of Wanderwell Club, my coaching program, I actually have a full list of questions to ask to try to avoid all of these red flags because I want like, and I've accumulated them over the past 9 years. Like I wouldn't always know what to ask in every scenario. So for example, recently I was going to accept a long term house sit at this gorgeous villa in Mallorca, and it was absolutely incredible. There was one dog, and it was about a year old. And we asked about training, and the owner mentioned the different, when we would have to bring them out for walks throughout the day. And it sounded all fine. And then I knew to ask because of previous experience looking after puppies, how the situation was at night. And then she was like, well, you are going to need to bring the puppy out at like 1:30 in the morning and bring her for like a walk for about like 30 minutes or so, 15 to 30
At
minutes.
1:30 in the
Whoa, whoa,
morning?
whoa. That's crazy. At 1 years old, I was anti-nannying the puppy at 4 months. And first of all, I did not do the night shift. That's insane.
Yeah, and it wasn't disclosed to us unless we kind of like were digging for more questions. So you really have to know what to ask. So like this resource is invaluable for me and I actually go through it for myself. It might seem like overkill to have so many questions and to be so thorough, but you really want to make sure that like you and the owner and the opportunity are completely aligned and of course you want to make sure that you are 100% able to fulfill all the responsibilities. So I always go through that and then in the case of dogs, especially, I will always try to schedule a handover period with the owners. So, a lot of times, especially for longer sits, the owners will have us invite us into their homes to stay for a few days. And I love that aspect of it. Not only do the pets get to see that we're friends of the owners, that we're cool, but they're able to bring us on their usual walks, show us their routine, introduce us to their vet sometimes or neighbors. And it just, as I mentioned before, it makes it less transactional. Like we actually become friends with these people and they're able to give us a lot of confidence in starting off the sits this way.
Yeah, that's
Amazing.
great. It's nice to hear because I have wondered about this crossover period and just seeing how the dog interacts with the owners. And even if the owners are like, yeah, they're really well trained, we all know that everyone thinks their dog is really well trained and they're usually not.
That's exactly it, though, because some people with their dogs, I mean, for all, I get it, like, they treat them like they're children, but sometimes children can also be jerks. So it's like, just because you like your dog doesn't mean everybody else likes your dog, Nancy. Like, calm down.
Why Nancy?
I don't know. That was the first word that came to my mind.
Need a little variation from Karen. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Karen seemed a bit too much because Karens are like if you're being rude, but Nancy is like we love a Nancy or like a dog named Stormy. You know, Stormy. We were just watching Love Is Blind last night. And the girl named her dog Stormy, and I just had to think of the Kardashians, and then my mind went on Stormy. I don't know. Nancy came out of it. I digress. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. But I think if we don't, okay, so as I said, we obviously like dogs, but if we don't, like Shandy is someone who also has allergies. And I recently got my allergies retested because I wanted to confirm that my cat allergy was still as active as I thought it was as a kid. And unfortunately it is. I won't die, but a 5-6 week stay in a house that has there's always multiple cats. I feel like there's never just one. There's always like 3 to 6. But anyway, does that just decrease the amount of house sits that are available to us? Or do you think it is? I guess like if we can't do cats, are we just like limiting ourselves or it's really not that limiting because there is just so many house sits out there now?
There are thousands of house sits around the world, so I'm not going to tell you that you have no opportunities. Of course, the more flexible that you are, the more opportunities you're going to have in terms of like the more flexible you are with your dates, your destination, with the responsibilities that you're willing to take on, whether you're in a city or a beach, whether you know how to drive stick shift and could potentially use the owner's car if it's in a rural location. So there are so many different things, but trusted house sitters and many of the other platforms that are available online actually have filters. So you're able to go ahead and search for the specific animals that you are willing to take care of and use that to your advantage as well. And another thing with trusted house sitters, they do offer in their like standard and premium plans some extra benefits just to give extra peace of mind. So in theory, they're supposed to also have a program like no aggressive animals are supposed to be allowed on the platform whatsoever. So if there's any form or indication of that, then that should be flagged because no one should be put in danger, of course. And in the event that a pet does cause you like cause any damage to a person or belongings, the standard and premium plans offer up to $1 million in coverage for insurance. So
Whoa.
yeah, it's really
Whoa.
so it's a nice benefit. I've never had to use it, obviously, and I hope to never have to use it. And I haven't spoken to anyone who has personally used it to verify. Obviously, read the terms and conditions and do your own research, but it gives a little bit extra peace of mind. And also the premium version also includes sick cancellation insurance. So if the house sit cancels within a certain period before you're supposed to start, then they'll cover you for accommodations so you're not homeless for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
Very handy tools. Okay, we're going to go back a little bit. So obviously you're in this house sitter world now and have been. So it's kind of like a past thing and a present thing. But before this, you talked a little bit about the benefits of house sitting in terms of saving money. But I'm sure people are curious, as you travel to all these beautiful places in all the countries you've mentioned, how are you earning an income, especially because this started, I think we use the pandemic as like a kind of this chapter window of life. A lot of people started traveling afterwards. So pre-pandemic, things like Fiverr and Upwork and these freelancing sites weren't as popular. So what was your income source to obviously have some income to get to place, feed yourself, purchase anything you needed, even though you were saving on rent? What was your income source? Or what have some of the jobs been that have helped you to generate this lifestyle?
Sure. I taught English in Italy in person in private language schools for a while and was able to save up quite well while still having a pretty high quality of life while living with my partner because full time out from my experience, like full time hours are about like 23 hours per week plus prep time. So I was getting paid a full time salary on part time hours essentially. So I've kind of always found ways to like never really work full time, to be honest.
Like positively sneaky. I don't know what else. Like it's like great. It's like creative sneakiness, but I approve of it. It doesn't seem sketchy. It's like,
I feel like
good.
You're so creative. That's the thing. Like you're so creative. You think so outside of the box that there's just like so many options. Like I love that. I hear the saying all the time. It's like, oh, think outside of the box. And then your only limit is yourself. Okay, yada, yada. Like, I get that. I love that. But you are literally the epitome of that. You are the example that you think outside of the box. You are your only limit. Like, and you think limitless. Like, the options that you give yourself is incredible. And I feel like just talking to you, I'm like, I can do so much more with my life. Like I can do so, like there's so many other options to do.
Yeah, we gotta go like to a cafe and get a sneaky free piece of cake. That's where I want to start with. How can I get that?
It's my birthday.
Okay, thanks so much. I really appreciate that because I don't think of myself as like a traditionally creative person in the sense of like art or anything like that. But I have over the years tried to accept myself as a creative person by just strictly through resourcefulness. So I appreciate that.
Hey friends, we hope you're enjoying this episode of the podcast. We just wanted to stop and offer you a chance to put your ad here exactly as you hear my voice. If you have a product, service, or offering that you would like the Where She Builds audience to know about, then send us an email at whereshebuilds@gmail.com and we can make sure to feature it in the next few episodes. Thanks so much for listening and let's get back to the episode. So we know that in Bangkok was one of your first house sits. Have you continued this English teaching when you were continuing to house sit and in different countries?
Yeah, the first 3 years of my trip around the world sorry, the first 3 months of my trip around the world, I wasn't working because the intention was to take that sabbatical, but once I started house sitting, I essentially was like, "Okay, well, you know what? I'm not paying for rent anymore, I don't have all of these bills. How can we sustain this?" And I just transitioned into teaching English online. If I could do it in person, why not do it online? So that has been, like, my primary work for most of these years. I did spend a couple of years working as a freelance travel deal hunter for a company, and I'm a self-taught travel hacker, so I've worked with I mean, yeah, I guess I'm a little bit resourceful, but I found ways to just like go down the rabbit hole with different travel hacking blogs and to understand things about mistake fares and like miles and points through credit card sign up bonuses and all of that. So I've gotten really amazing deals all around the world through that. So for me, it's like increasing my income and making sure I have steady income through remote work, but also being able to strategically like decrease my expenses so I don't have as much pressure to earn. And through travel hacking, through house sitting, and slow travel in general, because of course you spend less when you're traveling more slowly as well. In terms of jobs, English teaching, travel hacking, and now Wanderwell Club, which is my coaching program and community helping other people's get started with this lifestyle.
Amazing. I just wanted to ask a quick question. You said mistake fares. What are those?
Mistake fares are when the price for a flight is actually listed incorrectly. So you have to be careful with them when you see one. Sometimes it will happen, for example, like if the original price of the flight is 500, but they accidentally write 50 instead, they miss a zero. So you're able to book that flight for a much more affordable fare. Or sometimes there's other types of glitches within the system. So you have to be very fast and you don't want to book any accommodation or anything like that until you have the confirmation for the ticket, because sometimes for various reasons they will cancel it if they figure it out. But I've done it several times and I've had amazing experiences and it's worked out. So I flew from Budapest to Tokyo with Turkish Airlines for $80 each way. I flew from China to London direct
Insane.
for $40 and lots of other
What?
deals as well.
Yeah, these are crazy. And they also are called, and we are all English speakers here, airfares. That's a tongue twister that we just, us three already decided to recall them mistake airfares. So thanks for correcting that, because that even confused me in, in English. But it's fascinating that you've been able to find these deals. And I love the idea of, yeah, just taking your expenses down. And what you said about not having that pressure to create such a high income really, I think, makes you enjoy the space you're in more and not have this like, oh, I have to stay in this hotel, this Airbnb, and then I don't even have money left over to go and see a concert or see something that's here. I was talking about seeing some arts and some dance here while in the Netherlands. And like, if I thank you, Shandy, for your home. If I had to like find my own apartment in this neighborhood, it like just wouldn't work out. But we get to do experiences together and like share in food and such.
I just want to I think it's so amazing that Bianca is talking about this too, that you are saying like, yeah, okay, I'm not making the most amount of money. And then we can go into it later. Like you've been saving a lot of money as well. But I like that you're saying, because there's such a preconceived notion about being a digital nomad that you have to make hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. And then you're a digital nomad. And then you can sit in Bali and sip on your cocktail while you're doing on your computer, whatever. But like that's I mean, for some people it's the truth, but then for us regular nomads that are traveling around with just a regular income, then it makes us feel like, okay, are we actually nomads? Are we doing what we should be doing? Are we like slacking in different areas? So I love that, Bianca, you're opening up that conversation that it is normal. And honestly, probably the higher majority of nomads traveling are traveling the way that we are. So I love that you're talking about that, because the only thing you see on social media is all those people that are making so much more or say that they're making a lot of money. That's also something. Maybe they're not, but people that are saying that they're making a lot of money. And then it just makes the rest of us feel like we're kind of, I don't know, we're in this in between where we should be, I don't know, either working the 9 to 5 or something else. So I love that you're opening up that conversation.
Thanks. I think, yeah, I mean, if that's your vibe, like go for it. But if it's not, there are other ways to do things, and just unfollow those people, right? Like it's so easy to see all like and compare yourself on social media to all of these other people. Like just unfollow them. Look, it's fine. The world isn't going to end, and you can find other people that are inspiring for you and have like more aligned values. And I think that when we're talking about this discussion of increasing our income, not exorbitantly, not Jeff Bezos money, but just like increasing your income, reducing your reducing your expenses strategically, and finding that middle ground in between. Financial freedom is that middle ground when you're rerouting that money that would have otherwise been spent on things like housing or flights. You're able to reroute that money into your investments, which is you buying back your own time, right? Like you are freeing up time for your future self, and I'm making the little granny version of me, I'm relaxing her nervous system. Like I know that she is
We
going
love
to
that.
be okay.
You
And
Nonna Bianca.
exactly. Nonna Bianca. And it's like and it's not just like the grandma version of me. It's also, the version of me that's in my 60s, my 50s, my 40s. The way that I've set everything up has essentially allowed me to get on track to retire by the time I'm 45. And when I say retire, I just mean work optional, and just to know that I don't have to work to support myself. And I've never earned six figures. I'm not doing something absolutely incredibly ex- extraordinary. Yes, in some senses, but I mean, just in terms of the type of work that I'm doing and the scale of the work that I'm doing as well.
Definitely. And I think just to echo what you're saying and Shandy's saying, I think taking down, I love that it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you want to pursue this lifestyle, as you've shared in the last 40 minutes of this conversation, there's ways to do it that if you don't make enough, you just have to be a little bit strategic, creative, and resourceful and dropping those expenses, choosing certain locations. It takes a lot more planning. I think we should preface with that it's a little bit more strategic, and you've got to look ahead. You can't just last minute book a flight. And when you're making a certain amount of income, there's a little bit more work on your side of thing, but you get to also relax once you're there because, yeah, again, your nervous system can relax knowing your expenses are a bit less, which leads us into this cool new embarkment that you've taken on of creating your Wanderwell Club, which has been around for a while, but I think that you've really formalized it. And things like this, what question should I ask my house sitter, are going to be really helpful tools. And I'm very curious what that list says so that I make sure that I don't have to let a dog out at 1:30 a.m. So what made you want to start this to help others?
Yeah, so I feel like I've cracked a code within this space, and I feel very fortunate to be in this position to set myself up that I'm building time and financial freedom for myself while also having a positive impact. Like I haven't mentioned so far, but giving back as a nomad is really important to me. So like volunteering and having the time to volunteer as I'm traveling around the world is really important aspect. So Wanderwell Club is my opportunity to give back and help people, because once I started learning about how compound interest works and investments, and once I saw that, and I saw that my investments can start to pay me, and in a slow and sustainable way, I the same way that I travel slowly, I want my investments to grow slowly. I'm not on this, like, it's not a get rich quick scheme. I'm just doing things based off of data. And when I want to be able to support people through this. Like there are so many questions that could be coming up if you're just about to embark on the digital nomad life, or you're in your city and you're just like, how do I get out of this like hamster wheel? I feel like I'm making all of the right financial decisions, but I can't get ahead because the cost of living is so high. So but I do have a desire to travel around the world. So I think a lot of people think traveling when you're young or having a comfortable retirement are mutually exclusive, but really they can work together to actually like supercharge your path to financial independence through this strategic plan. So Wanderwell Club is a community and a coaching program that helps people to at the intersection of travel, money, and sustainability. So we're making sure that we're not just like getting rich while being nomads, but we're also pouring back into the local communities as we're traveling and being very mindful and doing as much good as we possibly can. So, yeah, that's the gist of Wanderwell Club.
I love that. What do you wish that travelers focused on more while they were traveling?
As I've mentioned, I wish that they took some time to decenter themselves from travel a little bit and really understand the impact on the local communities and to participate more in community-based tourism versus like extractive tourism practices. And a lot of that happens through relationship building, and relationship building will happen through a slower form of travel. And I think within the digital nomad community, like over the past year or so, I've definitely seen this trend toward slow travel, and I it's really refreshing, and I think it's important because if we want to not be hated by all the locals around the world, then we do have a responsibility to also try to find ways to work together to share our skills and knowledge and money and resources. It does require a bit more work to make the conscious and sustainable decisions. I would just encourage people to focus on a slower way of living that will benefit everyone.
Yeah, and I think also just finding your interest points. We've talked about before, like if you're into certain activities or fitness activities, finding the local volleyball club, participating in the beach volleyball tournament, finding a jiu-jitsu studio where it probably is like locally owned and your monthly pass could make a difference for that person just to kind of make ends meet for the month, especially if it's a slower season, which I find nomads, we seek out slower tourism places because it's just overwhelming in the summer months, especially here in Europe. What's, the best time, though, for someone to join Wanderwell Club? Is there a spot on their journey where it's really beneficial for them? Or can someone start, like, they've been working 9 to 5 the last 10 years in corporate America, let's say, and they want to completely flip their life. Do they need some travel experience before joining, or any time's good?
Anytime is good. I would say that if you don't have an emergency fund in place, then of course I ethically cannot, I don't want to take your money. I think that it is important to have a certain level of stability for yourself, but I also try to at least give tips for people that are at that level to try to help them just build up some financial security for themselves. As long as you have a remote job, then that's where I'm able to help you. Starting from that point, we can figure out all of the travel hacking, the house sitting, the home exchanges, the banking for nomads, and the investments. We're able to work on all of that. But really, once you have that remote job, then it's great. So the members of Wanderwell Club have all different ranges of experience. We have some people who are just about to invest for the very, very first time, and I'm helping walk them through the steps and regulating their nervous systems about it because it can get really nerve wracking for people. And some people who have tens of thousands of dollars that are just sitting in a bank account not earning interest, so we've been immediately able to reroute
Oh my
that. So
gosh.
like
Waving a flag, like, "Let's get some money going."
like we need to optimize this.
Yes.
So, from the financial perspective, all across the board, and same thing with traveling, we have people who have never left the United States before and just are aspiring to go abroad. And then we have other people who have been digital nomads for years, but they actually just said, like, I feel like I'm not nomading well. So, I feel like you're the person to help me figure out how to strategically do it and make it a more sustainable path for me in the long run.
Yeah. Do you work with specifically just people from the United States, or do you work with people from all over the world?
People from all over the world. Right now, most of our members are from the US, but we do have some members from Canada, Italy, and some other places that are not coming to mind right now.
Amazing.
Awesome. So where can listeners connect with you and join Wanderwell Club if they want to?
Sure. You can find my website at wanderwell.club. So not wanderwellclub.com, but wanderwell.club.
Fancy, fancy.
Wanderwellclub.com wasn't available, but
I love the way you just worked that. I feel like it is becoming more of a thing though, like other domains too. So I kudos, it's cool.
Thanks. And across social media, you can find me at Wanderwell Club altogether. So super easy to find. And I would love to share a special offer. Anyone who would like to join Wanderwell Club, they're more than welcome to join. In the show notes, there will be a link where you will be able to sign up and support the Where She Builds podcast. And you will be able to use the promo code Where She Builds after clicking on that link. And this will give you $10 off your first month of membership.
Yeah, thank
We
you
love
so
it.
much. We love that. Oh, thank you, Bianca. This conversation has been so beautiful to hear about your journey of starting and these internships all the way to, house sitting and now helping others around the world to do the same thing. So it's been a lovely conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you so
having me.
much.
Amazing. And
Loved
we
it.
are the Where She Builds podcast. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. I am Anna at Your Travel Friend Anna, joined always by Coach Shandy, sitting next to me on this very special episode of Bianca. You're probably one of the only people who will get to talk to us like this. So you can find Shandy at Coach Shandy, and we will see you in the next episode.
See you next time.
Ciao for now.